Hello and welcome back to another episode of Getting Started with Dwarf Fortress, the tutorial series for new players, here with me, the Mooch Mouse. It's been a while since the last episode, but we are back into it now and we are going to talk about walls in this episode. Our first fortress ended abruptly when we were attacked by a werebeast. What would have saved us a little bit from that is if we had some walls and some gates that we could close to make the werebeast go away, because werebeasts don't really last that long. They run around and eat whatever they can find, and then once the moon cycle ends, they turn back into whatever race they were previously and run away. So today we're going to build some walls. Now, many of you probably have figured out how to build walls, but I would like to give some pointers on wall building nonetheless. So on this map that we have here, we're sort of in the middle of a valley, and I would guess merchants come north-south. This doesn't really matter, it's just sort of an aesthetic thing for me. So I'm going to make some walls. We're going to just build a sample wall here. I'm going to escape out of that and pause. We're going to build a sample wall here of just a bit of wall, a drawbridge, and then some more wall. And we'll talk a little bit about why it's important to do it like this, or why this is better than just going any other wall. So we'll do B, C, wall. And if you have not selected, you could now select B for box select, which means that you can build by just click, move, right? Instead of the expanding U, H, K, and M that you would normally. So we're going to build a wall. What do we want to make it out of? Preferably you'd like to make the wall out of blocks. So we have sandstone at the top here, but we don't want to use that. We want to use sandstone blocks. Blocks are made in the mason's workshop from any rock. But the reason we make blocks is because it makes the wall smooth. You can't really see that in the graphics, but just trust me on that. It makes the wall smooth. And a smooth wall is not climbable by creatures. So climbing creatures cannot scale the smooth wall, which is why we prefer to use blocks. So we'll just go blocks. I'll do shift enter to select everything as blocks. We'll then leave a 3 wide gap, and we will go a bit more over, and we'll do more sandstone blocks. And then we will do B, G, no, not that G, a bridge. 3 should probably be enough, wide, and then we will hit, we say that up here it says bridge retracts, by using WASDX, we can change that. So if I go W, it races upwards on my map, so that means it would be hinged on this end. If I go X, it races downwards. If I go S, it retracts. Which way, you might ask? That doesn't really matter. Retracts just means it disappears when you open it or close it. So like open, it's there. Closed, it's just gone. But we can also make it race to the west, and we can make it race to the east, but I would like it to race south, so it hinges on this side and closes. Now a raised drawbridge effectively forms a wall, so that means it will seal us in when we pull the lever to make it close. So I'm going to place that here, and this you can make out of pretty much anything. I'm not going to waste my blocks on this, I'm just going to use regular old sandstone. So I'm going to let them build this, and then I'm going to make a lever, and we're going to link up that bridge and see it close, just to get that out of the way. So I'll be back with you shortly. Now while my dwarfs are working away and building a wall, we're going to get set up in order to make a lever to control this bridge that we're constructing. In order to do that, we have to make a component required for the lever, which is called a mechanism. A mechanism is made in the mechanics workshop, and I have it set up so that any unassigned worker in my fort can do mechanics. This is because mechanism quality has no impact on the final product. You can have a total crap mechanism and it works just as fine as a masterwork or even artifact mechanism. So mechanisms are made in the mechanics workshop, and I have conveniently made a mechanics workshop right here. So I'm going to tell the mechanics workshop that you can make a rock mechanism. You see there's not too many things you can build in the mechanics workshop, but mechanisms are one of them. So I'm going to set up a workflow for this, tell it to repeat mechanisms of any rock. I would like to keep 6 to 10 of those lying around. No particular reason why I choose those numbers. It's just sort of winging it a little bit there. So they're going to get that set up, and to make a lever, we will and control the gate, we will actually need 3 mechanisms. You need 1 mechanism to construct the actual lever, and then you will need 2 mechanisms to link it to the bridge. And these mechanisms are magical dwarven mechanisms, which means that they work wirelessly. So you just use 1 at the bridge, you use 1 in the lever, and magic, now it's connected. Don't ask me how that happens. So we're going to continue to build the wall. It looks like the wall has been made. The bridge is still flashing, means that it's still under construction. And no, not everything is not on fire, it's just the leaves falling off the trees in autumn. This is a major FPS killer if you have a poor machine, so we'll just leave that for now, and we'll wait for the mechanisms to be done, at least to the point where I can construct the lever in my dining hall, and we will pick it up from there. Right, so the dwarves have made enough mechanisms for me to link up the bridge and construct the lever. So firstly, we would like to build the lever. A good place to keep your lever is, of course, in the dining hall. There are plenty of idling dwarves around to come and build, to come and pull the lever if you require it. So to build the lever, we will hit B, maybe select the correct window and everything. B, and levers are under traps/levers, which is a capital T, and we will go down to a lever. We'll just put it up in the corner here, and you see here it requires a mechanism, and we will use the jet mechanism, and we will have someone come around and build that. There's a lot of animals in my dining hall. Yes, I never did set up an animal farm. I'll have to do that in between episodes. Is someone going to come build our lever for us? Come on, dwarfs. It's not difficult. The chicken is inspecting the lever. Here he is. Build, build, build. Or you just... No, apparently that was not the builder. That was just someone loitering around in the meeting hall doing absolutely nothing. Well, we'll be back once the lever is built then. Righto! Our lever has been built, and we can now link it to our drawbridge. Now, there is no limit, that I am aware of at least, of how many things you can link this lever to. So you can link this to possibly an infinite amount of drawbridges, or traps, or other things that you would like it to be linked to. Which means that we can have multiple drawbridges in our wall, and we can have 1 lever to open and close all of them simultaneously. So to link the lever, we do like we do with workshops when we want to queue up something for them to do. We hit Q and hover over the lever, and we get this sort of same add new task where we would construct things in workshops. And we say add new task, and we say link to something, in this case a bridge. Now it jumps to the bridge here because we have 1 bridge, and it's where it can go. It would jump to another bridge, possibly, if we had one. I don't know how it decides what it jumps to, but it does. Now, there are two ways for you to select which bridge you want to link it to. One is by moving around the map until you are above the correct bridge. So if we had another one, we could move over there. Or the other is that in the list that appears up here, you can go plus and minus to navigate up the list, and it will jump around the map to the various bridges. So you don't have to navigate. So if you have 100 bridges, that might be useful for you instead of finding the correct one. But we're here now, and we just hit enter, and it says, yeah, it wants mechanisms. And here we can actually see that, yeah, mechanisms do have quality, as indicated by the symbols here. I can never remember what symbol means what, so you just have to look that up on the wiki under the article called quality, I believe. But we will hit enter, and then it says, yes, something to use in the lever. Quality doesn't really matter for the final product. And then a dwarf will come around with a mechanism, do something in the lever to hook that up, and then he will get another mechanism and do something in the bridge to hook that up, and it magically works after that. And we can check if it's been done by looking at the lever. So if I go here now, we see we don't have a task here anymore. That means that someone has already actually linked this lever. That was fast. A baby alpaca is starving. Yeah, I'll deal with that afterwards. Someone has actually linked this lever. Now to test it, we would obviously like to test it. We would like to see that it closes. We can go to our lever, and we do Q and hover over it again, and we say add a task, and the total bottom task there is a capital P, pull the lever. So I say pull the lever, and any dwarf with the lever pullings task enabled will come and do that. And if we go back to the surface, we can see that our drawbridge has now become a wall. So yes, it works. Now we would like to keep it open for the time being, so I can construct more walls with more drawbridges. Someone come and pull that off. There we go. Go back up, and then now it's closed. There is a slight delay in between these two things, but nothing really noticeable. So now that our lever is linked and we have tested it, I'm just going to give a few more pointers, and that is that you should definitely channel out underneath your bridge. I just learned from this recording that you can actually do that once the bridge has been made. It's impossible to channel out the tiles underneath the bridge once the bridge has been made. Even if I pull it up, it will not allow me to tag these 6 squares here as channeled. I can ramp up from underneath, which gives me absolutely nothing because the ceiling doesn't go out. So it's just a ramp into dirt. And the reason you want to do that is because if you pull this up and then a dwarf comes along, or a merchant or whoever, and just standing out here, someone you don't want to kill, standing out here when the bridge is up, and you say, oh, close the bridge, open the bridge again. And it smacks down on top of him, and he is scattered into his subatomic particles, gone forever. This is what we call a dwarven atom smasher. Because anything that gets trapped underneath the drawbridge is just vaporized. It is gone, never to be seen again. So keep that in mind. Also a note about channeling out around your walls and protections here is that a moat is good. It is less good if you fill it with water, but you can, obviously, if you think that is cool and you want to. No one's going to stop you. But the problem with water is that if you have water, a lot of creatures can swim, so they will just swim across to your wall regardless. But that is the fine thing about keeping then a smooth stone wall. They can't climb it anyway. So, yeah, keep that in mind. So that's been this. That is it for this episode of Getting Started with Dwarf Fortress. I will be back in the next episode to talk about something completely different. See you then.